Hello everybody, welcome back to the United Way. Today we're going to be going through Ten Hag's press conference, which he had earlier on today. It's not the preview will be later on today, but joining me today is Rahul. Rahul, how are you?
I'm fine, man. What's going on? What's up?
I'm good, thanks. Not much. So we play Sociedad tomorrow. The Europa League officially starts tomorrow. Some fans are looking forward to it, some fans aren't. Some fans are looking forward to just seeing rotation. I mean, I think you said it yesterday. You're just you weren't looking forward to the games. You're just looking forward to seeing the rotation, and many people are like that. But we will get through a few of the key points in Ten Hag's press conference. Again, just not much to talk about, but we'll get your opinions on it. So we'll start off with Anthony Martial. Ten Hag has said he's still out, he's progressing, but he's not ready to play. So he was in the confirmed squads, because I read out the squad yesterday near the end of the watch long, and he was included in that. Now he's not. Do you reckon Martial having these injuries is a bit of a problem where we only have one proper striker, who is Ronaldo?
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely a problem because we have this one striker, as you said. Rashford isn't really a striker. It's clear, I think every United fan can see that. He's more dangerous off the left. But I hope that with Martial, that this isn't a long-term thing. I hope that he just he recovers quickly. And he had a hamstring injury, so with hamstring injury, it usually takes a while for it to recover. So I'm not too surprised with that, but I hope he comes back quick because he is a valuable player, in the squad.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, he's been out all of August, and well, let's hope he's not out for the rest of September. But like, the thing that just I find weird is he was in the squad. Remember, I read out the squad to you yesterday. The 20 something man squad, and he's still out basically. So do you reckon, as much as we probably don't really like to see Rashford in that striker position, and Ronaldo's he was missing pre-season. Do you reckon we kind of have no choice to play Rashford, in some games, as much as we might like to see Ronaldo start there? Do you reckon sometimes Ten Hag has no choice to start Rashford?
No, I mean, Rashford, I don't think that Rashford's the only option, up front. I would still prefer an Elanga to Rashford up front if we have to go, down the line of, down the list of, strikers that could play that position. I would rather play Elanga up front, but, Ten Hag obviously prefers to play Rashford up front. So you have to back the manager. But I just feel that this is a short term thing. I think Martial was, as you saw in the preseason, he was the first pick to be the main striker there. And when Ronaldo comes back into form, then it'll be even more difficult to drop Ronaldo. So I think this Rashford thing is just a temporary thing, and I think it will go away soon.
Oh, yeah, I mean, it definitely will go away soon. It's just that at the moment we're limited with strikers, aren't we? Like Ronaldo is our only proper striker that's fit, but even Ronaldo, like he's not his fitness isn't ready yet. I don't think Ronaldo's fitness is there yet because he missed pre-season, which was a bit of a shame. That's why most of us would have liked him to be there because he's still a few weeks behind the likes of Bruno and Sancho and Rashford and the like. He's still, you know what I mean. He's still behind them. Um, I mean, the thing is about Ronaldo, even at his age, he can just click into form and be better than the rest. When hopefully when he wants to. Um, but it is. I think it's agitating for the likes of Ten Hag just to be limited with one striker at the moment in Ronaldo, who hasn't started a game all season. Well, he has. I think the Brentford game was the game he started when we lost 4-0. As much as I hate to say it, but you reckon we'll see? Will it be another month without Martial, or do you reckon he'll be back?
I think it's difficult to say because I think with the hamstring injury, you never know. But I think that
Yeah.
Ten Hag, I think Martial could come back into the first team squad. Now, whether or not he starts is different. He might come on as a sub, and then slowly, gradually make his way into the first team 11. But I think with Ronaldo, what we're seeing is because of his lack of preseason and his lack of training sessions with Manchester United, he's not being preferred. He's not being the first choice, and Rashford has been there throughout the whole preseason tour. So that's what you're seeing. Because of the absence of Ronaldo in that particular preseason, you're not seeing him start, and that's actually a very good thing because that just shows that Ten Hag is very strict, and you have to be. Doesn't matter what your status is off the field. If you don't come for training, if you're not there, if you don't do the hard work, you're not going to start. So I think this is actually a good thing. But hopefully Ronaldo does, make it back.
Yeah, hopefully. I mean, Martial, the one thing that I'm kind of worried about, even when he does come back, will he still have that good form that he had before injury? That's what I'm kind of worried about. Like, is he going to have that good form when he does return eventually?
I think it's difficult to say, because I think with Martial, he's been a player who's been basically he's been off form and on form, basically like fluctuating between being on form and between being off form. But I think with Ten Hag, I think we've seen that he gets the best out of all the players that he does play. Barring maybe a Maguire. But with Martial, I feel that because he has played that Ten Hag system, and Ten Hag has shown the confidence in Martial, and with the creative players that we have alongside Martial, to support Martial, I think this if Martial does come back, I think he will be in form.
Hopefully, because hopefully, I hope you're right, but I hope he's back sooner rather than later because like he is missing up top, like even for squad depth, like we talked about squad depth yesterday, and that's why I kind of said near the end as well that third striker, if you got just another striker, that would have been key for Man United. But with Martial being out, that only leaves us with one proper striker in Ronaldo. Which listen, I'll back Ronaldo. Even though his fitness isn't probably up there with the rest, he's still a quality player. He can still turn on. He can still up his game when he wants, where he wants. I mean, listen, Rashford playing striker, it's not the worst decision, but it's not the best, is it? But that's probably what Ten Hag's thinking of. I only have one striker, so I have to leave Ronaldo on the bench. Again, more than likely, Ronaldo will probably start tomorrow against Sociedad. Nothing's really been confirmed about that yet, but I hope even in the January window we get another striker just to have just to have squad depth. Doesn't matter who it is. I mean, we could have got Kaladzic, Benjamin Sesko, Memphis Depay. We could have got a lot, but unfortunately, I think Wolves got not Nunez, Kaladzic, and Sesko has gone to Leipzig sometime soon. I'm not too sure, and Depay is still at Barcelona. We were interested in Nunez at the start of the summer, but as he went to Liverpool. So we're kind of slow, aren't we? Like a striker had to be not the number one priority, but it had to be up there with the priorities, isn't it?
Yeah, that's the thing. Gakpo, as you read before, like Gakpo, the personal terms were agreed, and
Yeah.
Gakpo himself has basically told us that he thought he was coming to Manchester United. That's how close it was. And then at the end of the day, Manchester United come up with the excuse of saying that we have Elanga, and because of us having Elanga, we're not going to go in for Gakpo. That's the excuse that they've come up with, when we all know that it's just incompetence because we've spent too much money. We've not had basically any money left to go and spend on Gakpo. So basically that's incompetence. That again you have to go up to John Murter, to Richard Arnold, to the transfer negotiating team. So if they had done their job better, we would have had Gakpo right now, and Gakpo would have probably been playing this Europa League game.
Yeah, exactly. I think Gakpo was more of a left winger, wasn't he? But I think he could play striker as well. Just would have Gakpo been like another Rashford if you played him striker? Is he more of a winger? But again, he would have been more than handy to have. But yeah, and Ten Hag has confirmed that he is unavailable to face Sociedad tomorrow. So a bit of a shame. It would have been a decent game to ease him back in. But I don't know. Let's hope he's back for the Europa League game next Thursday, because it'd be handy to get him in. But I mean, we spoke about Boy yesterday, didn't we? And Erik Ten Hag on Boy's comments, he said, I cannot say anything about it. I was not in charge last season, not for me, and I had in brackets nationality deciding selection. So, I mean, yeah, Ten Hag is kind of he stands his ground there, doesn't he? Like I wasn't in charge last season, so you can't really blame it on me. Blame it on Ollie, who was the manager, or Ralph Rangnick, who was interim. Blame it on the managers before me, not me. Don't shoot me. Shoot the two others. Do you reckon though? I think I asked you this question yesterday, but I'll ask it again. Do you reckon Ten Hag would have gave Eric Boy more game time this season than the likes of Oli or Rangnick did?
Yeah, for sure, and you saw that in preseason, he played Eric Bailey as basically his first choice center back there. And Bailey himself, was doing well. And, Ten Hag obviously promised him the game time. And Ten Hag is a man of his word, he doesn't lie. He'll say it straight, how it is. So Eric Bailey was probably promised, the game time. But with Eric Bailey, again, the contradiction was that Eric Bailey was basically wanting to play first team football. So game week in week out, Eric Bailey wanted to start for Manchester United, which Ten Hag couldn't promise him. So that's the difficult decision that Ten Hag had to make. To let Bailey go, because it was difficult to promise him that, and it's better to tell the truth than rely to Bailey and say that he'll play him and then eventually not play him. So I think at the end of the day, it was best for both parties, to part ways.
Yeah, that's it. That's it. Um, and yeah, I agree with you. Like, it's best for Boy's career, isn't it? That he went on to Marseille. Will he stay there? Will Marseille, with the option to buy, will they, take it in their hands and be like, he's our man now. We're going to buy him on a permanent deal. Um, there's a few points about the law because he was meant to be alongside Ten Hag today in the press conference, but we'll get to those near the end. So yeah, on the selection of Scott McTominay, he said you can see it like that when the team is acting well. We have more than 11 players, then you stay in. I mean, listen, I'm not going to talk too much about McTominay because, credit where is credit where credit's due. McTominay so far is playing well for the club, isn't he? Like he's. I'm not sure whether the signing of Casemiro made him like that, or Ten Hag and McTominay realised it's either. I'm not sure whether it's the Ten Hag thing or Casemiro signing, or McTominay thought to himself, "Listen, I have to up my game." New manager who doesn't take shit. Let's be honest. Ten Hag's not a man that looks like he take any crap. If you have a bad game, you're gone. You're dropped. It's like McTominay realised in here. He was like, "I have to up my game, or else I'll either get sold, I'll be on the bench, or God knows what will happen to me." Or Ten Hag was like, "Listen, you have to up your game, or else you're gone." One or the other. I mean, what do you think? I mean, McTominay literally after the Brentford game and Brighton game, he played so well. What do you think he did or the club did to make him improve his game?
I think the basic thing is that there was a solid partnership at the back, and that solid defense gave McTominay a little more confidence and gave him that platform, to come forward and basically show his skills, show what he's about. And apart from that, coaching, right? It's the mentality thing, that's always there. But I think with McTominay, I don't think a mentality thing was ever in doubt because he always gives 100% for the club. I don't think anyone can question that. But the
Yeah,
thing is, with McTominay, it's just that he wasn't as good enough, right? That's what the fans feel. But I think with Ten Hag, he's just coached him, the best he can, and he's improved his game. But I think overall, in the situation, I think in the short term, McTominay works out fine for the club. But in the long term, if you want to compete for the big titles, McTominay I don't think can take us there. So for now, we have to use him, get the best out of him. And for me personally, I would sell him, but it's the manager's decision. So let's see what he does with McTominay.
yeah. I mean, again, you have to back Ten Hag these days, don't you, with the decisions he makes. It doesn't matter who he starts, even though we're probably not happy with it. Like if you look, at the game on Sunday, a lot of us would have liked to see. Well, we wanted to see Ronaldo and Casemiro start because it was a big game. But if you look at it in the end, it did us well in the end, and we got the big 3 points. So yeah, I mean, I hope McTominay, the form he's on now, I hope he can continue that and improve that. Build on a solid foundation. And as you said there, having a solid back two with Martinez and Varane, that can give him more confidence to move forward, and it kind of gives even the midfield trio. If it's a 4-2-3-1, there's still three midfielders on the pitch, so it gives those kind of freedom to to move around the pitch and get up there, which which is good, isn't it? Which is very good. Um,
Yeah.
but again, do you reckon it's just a purple patch from McTominay, or do you reckon these are going to be performances we're going to constantly see with McTominay now?
I think that these are performances that we'll constantly see with McTominay, and I think he's a young, he's not young, but he's in his mid 20s. So I think he is in his prime. He will give us everything that he has, and I think with better coaching, as he does more and more training sessions under Ten Hag, I think he'll improve more. And it's always, it also depends upon, as I said, the back four. If the back four is unstable, then his game also gets spoiled. The midfielders and the back four have a huge link, and they have to work basically in tandem with each other. So McTominay, a lot of times I think under Maguire and Lindelof, he had to basically come back and almost as another centre back and cover for them. But I think with this partnership now, you're seeing McTominay go front and show his talent. But let's see. I wouldn't get too hyped about McTominay. He's having a good run right now. So as a Manchester United fan, I'm happy for him. But at the end of the day, I think with Casemiro in the team, I think uh, it's basically a when Casemiro comes. It's not gonna be how he comes in, or it's basically a matter of time before Casemiro breaks into that first team, and you see McTominay basically on the bench. So that's all I can say.
Yeah, that's it. I mean, I hope these are going to be good performances. We'll see, but again, could it be just Ten Hag easing the likes of Casemiro in? We you don't know. No one knows, but I just I hope these are going to be good performances. We'll constantly see with McTominay, because it's like Man United team now. Even though the squad depth's good, but if you're playing against a team who was constantly running at you, and you make one mistake or you have one bad game, that's it. It's over for you. It's over for the game was over. We've seen it last year. One player had a bad game, the rest of them just had a bad game. Um, but yeah, we'll move on from Scott McTominay. Uh, so Erik Ten Hag has also said the team is improving, it's getting better. But for the players that aren't in the team, they can come in at any moment and maybe do better than the players that are in. I know that you need more than 11 players, and we have a really good bench, which we do have a good bench these days, don't we? Again, the squad depth's not the best, but it's depth. It's some sort of depth. I mean, if you look at our bench on Saturday or Sunday, you had Fred, Casemiro, Luke Shaw, Wan-Bissaka, Ronaldo, Van de Beek. Who else is in there? Anthony Alange. I think he was on the bench as well. That's good depth, you know, and more than likely we'll see the likes of Alange start tomorrow, and Casemiro and Van de Beek. Hopefully, we get to see Van de Beek start. I'd like to see what he has to say under Ten Hag. But do you reckon Ten Hag is right when he says that the team's improving and getting better, but the players that aren't in this team, they can come in at any moment? Do you reckon that's the thing that can happen?
I think that's true for most of the players, but with some players like Van Bissaka, like Phil Jones and players like those, I don't think that's an exception. I don't think Ten Hag generally wants to keep them at the club. But with the other players, it's more of a diplomatic way of saying. It's just a way of saying like I have these players, I'm gonna get the best out of them. But at the end of the day, given a choice, I would replace them. That's what it boils down to at the end of the day. So the squad depth, like I said yesterday, is good in certain positions, but in certain other positions, we don't have any squad depth. So I think the manager is just being a little diplomatic. He's just saying basically what he needs to say in the press conference, without causing too much trouble. But at the end of the day, we all know that certain players aren't good enough, and we need to get rid of them. ASAP.
Yeah, that's it. That's it. That's it. Um, what else has he said? Let me just go down. He's talked about Rashford. Uh, he said once again, it's difficult for me to talk about the past. What you see is a happy Marcus Rashford. We worked really hard in the last 2 months with him on different aspects. I mean, Rashford the other day, 2 goals and an assist, which isn't bad. Let's hope he's gonna. Let's hope we're starting to see the good Rashford come back, because even though we got 2 goals and an assist the other day, listen again, the 2 goals weren't the easiest or weren't the hardest of goals to score. They were pretty straightforward, but they're goals. They're goals. And do you reckon we're starting to see this? And again, I try not to get too carried away, but do you reckon we're starting to see the Rashford we know coming back?
Um, it's difficult to say. I think with Ten Hag, I think he's the perfect manager for Rashford for his development. And I think if any manager is there, who's going to bring the best out of Marcus Rashford, I think that manager is Ten Hag. But for me, I've personally said that I just don't feel Marcus Rashford fits a one-man strike system. I don't think he's a winger, and I don't think he's a striker. He's somewhere in between that. And if you're playing with two strikers up front, I think that's very perfectly fits in. And I think that's just my stance. I don't feel Marcus Rashford is good enough, in that three-man forward position, because his traits, say otherwise. He's not a proper winger because he doesn't have that creativity, he doesn't have that supply that you want from a winger, and he's not a proper striker because he can't hold the ball up. He's not technically aware or smart in the box. He just relies on the pace. So at the end of the day, I hope that Ten Hag, can utilize this player well. But it's for me, it's difficult, to see him succeed in the long term, because sooner or later you can't. Your pace will only get you so far. Teams will figure that out. You have to have a little bit more, especially when you're a Manchester United player. But overall, I feel that Ten Hag, I think, is the best suited manager for a Marcus Rashford.
Yeah. I think a lot of people said it, didn't they, when Ten Hag got appointed? Uh, Ten Hag is basically Rashford's last chance. Um, I mean, again, we seen glimpses of a good Rashford coming back the other day, didn't we? Which again, it's always good to see like Rashford come back. Because thing is about Rashford, and thing is that I think it agitates us most about Rashford is we know he can be a good player. We know he can be a good player. We know what he has. We know what he's just a good player, isn't he? Like when Rashford's on good form, he's good, isn't he? Like there's just no messing about. And again, I watched the thing yesterday, and I felt like I'm not sure people are kind of getting a bit carried away, but they're right. They're kind of saying Rashford is good. We've seen a good Rashford against Arsenal. Are we going to see glimpses of the good Rashford coming back? Will it be the Rashford come back in stages? Because his confidence was very low last season. We know that he wasn't the best. When he was starting to go on good form, the international break came and he came back and he kind of wasn't kind of up to scratch. He was it's like he was rusty. Um, but the season before that, when he had the shoulder and all that, and he was great. We all thought, we all thought, and we said it the Rashford that still has, the shoulder. Remember, he had the shoulder injuries at the time and he was still playing. We all thought, this Rashford is good now with a shoulder injury. What's he going to be like when he comes back, when it's all done? He came back a totally different player. And then after the Euros as well, when you missed a penalty, could have that been a bit of a, knocking the confidence off him a bit. And then you come back and, you start the season off and we beat Leeds 5-2, I think it was. 5-2, 5-1, not sure what the result was. We all thought lovely. Then Rashford just, one thing I'll say about him, he's better, the way he's better than he was last season. He was. I'm not sure about what you think about that. But, and then one other thing about Rashford, you play Rashford striker. No, he's not that player. But Rahul, you probably watched the match the other day yourself. When Rashford's on the wing, he's much better. He's so better. Rashford's a player that thrives on opportunities, but he can't make them up himself. He makes the runs. Ronaldo came on the other day. When Ronaldo came on, Rashford went over to the left, and then, 2-1 through ball for Rashford, then it was a through ball to Eriksen out to it. Because Rashford was on the wing, and Ronaldo was... It's like Ronaldo, the Arsenal players, the defenders were just like, don't give Ronaldo space, but little did he know, Rashford was in the background. So do you reckon if we start to see the Rashford on the wing, he'll be a better Rashford?
For me, I think if you put him on the wing, yeah, he would be better because he'd have more space to run at defenders, and he would play basically with his back. He wouldn't play with his back to the defenders. He'd face the defenders, head on. So he'd be more of a threat there. But at the end of the day, Marcus Rashford is basically the most dangerous when teams play a high line, because when teams play a high line, Marcus Rashford just has to make that one run. He has to time his run correctly, and he's basically one-on-one with the goalkeeper. So it's when teams like Wolves, a more defensive team who come in and play a low block. That's where Marcus Rashford gets found out. Because the defenders can see whatever he's doing in front of them. They don't have to worry about him running in behind because they are playing a low block, and that's the moment where you need some technical skills. You need some smartness. You need some kind of ability, some class that you need from a striker or a winger, that I think Marcus Rashford doesn't have in those situations. So for me, with Rashford, if you're playing teams with a high line, he's a very dangerous player. As you saw with Arsenal, once Arsenal got that high line in, Marcus Rashford was thriving. But with the low line, again, he won't be much of a threat because his traits, are he just basically rushes everything. He gets the ball, doesn't, have the patience to, play the smaller pass. Doesn't have that creativity in him. But all we can do is hope that Ten Hag can coach him better. But I just feel that those traits don't they don't just suddenly come into a player. You just have to work with the player and see what you can do with the player. But Ten Hag has to he's the manager. He has to effectively use Rashford in certain games, and certain situations, and get the best out of him. So it's all on Ten Hag now. But with Rashford, if you're thinking, he's an Anthony on the right hand side, basically a duplicate of Anthony on the left hand side, then it's a different story, because you just compare him with Anthony and they're both different players. Anthony is a proper winger. He can he's the one who he probably puts those crosses in, is smart, in the box, knows when to make the runs. I think Rashford basically suffers a little bit over there. He's not basically that's not his profile. He's not that kind of a player. But I think he's still a valuable member of the squad, and Ten Hag has to utilize him properly.
Yeah, exactly. Spot on. He also said Rashford likes it. He wants to transfer it to the pitch. It started with happiness. He comes in every day and he enjoys it. He's also smiling, a really positive vibe. And if you put all of if you put all of those things together, like the way of play, and you are happy, you will contribute more to the team, which is very true, isn't it? If you come in happy, your confidence seems to be flying high. You're not just are you bringing confidence in yourself, it's like you're bringing confidence into the team as well. You don't have the player turn up to train every day with, you know, a lousy head on them, pissed off. That's how you know you're doing well as well as a manager, when players are coming in happy, because it goes to show they want to be good. They're pushing to be good. And let's just hope Rashford can do that. Because the thing is about Rashford, he can push himself to be a good player, but it takes him a while. So let's just hope he can push himself forward and perform. Because as I said, when Rashford's on form, he is dangerous. Isn't he? Like when Rashford, you put Rashford on form, he's a dangerous player. So let's hope he can continue that. Move on to talk a bit about. We'll move on actually about the contract as well for Marcus Rashford, which I hope will happen. Erik Ten Hag on if there are plans to discuss a new contract for Rashford. He said definitely. I don't think he's out of contract, and I think United control the situation. Would you like to see Rashford renew his contract, Rahul?
It's difficult to say, based on his past. If you take this season, out of the picture, then he's been very bad in the past, couple of seasons. But let's see what happens what happens this season. I think it's a make or break season for Rashford. I think this is his last chance. If he doesn't thrive this time under Ten Hag, then I wouldn't want to renew the contract. But let's see what happens this season. If he does perform well, then yeah, then maybe I would like to renew the contract. So it's all gonna be based on the end of the season.
Yeah, that's it. I hope if we get to see a good Rashford, and us fans will be like extend that contract. So Erik Ten Hag and Cristiano Ronaldo, he said he started against Brentford, then not since the Brentford game, but he is ready to start, and he can start for the majority of games. So do you reckon we'll see a Ronaldo start tomorrow against Sociedad?
I think it's more than likely that Ronaldo will start, considering the
Yeah.
fact that Rashford has already played, 2 games a week. So Eric Ten Hag smart, he wouldn't want to basically overuse his players and get them fatigued. That's the last thing you want. So I think Ronaldo will start the game, and I hope he does well.
Yeah. Let's hope so. Do you reckon we'll, with the likes of Anthony coming in, will be better for Ronaldo? Someone to swing the ball in and, just give him, service basically.
Yeah, 100%. With you, if you look at Ronaldo at Juventus, he had Dybala with him, a similar profile of player, who would swing those balls in and get those assists for Ronaldo. So I think Ronaldo will benefit with Anthony, and I think they have that connection as well, the Brazilian Portuguese connection. I think that's good there. I think Anthony will work well with Ronaldo, but that's just on paper. Let's see what happens in the game. But on paper, I feel that this is going to be a good partnership.
Hopefully, I hope just the way Anthony he wants to. The other day he wants to impress the fans, the team, and the manager. So again, we've been begging for a left-footed right winger for a while now, and we've got it. And again, I think Anthony has the potential to be a good player. I really, really do. The way he plays it again. Listen, I'm not gonna, so God knows what will happen. Someone will, someone will just, I don't care. I'm gonna say, I know someone's probably gonna slag me over if it goes bad, but I think he is going to be a big plus, and he's definitely going to get Manchester United back to, wouldn't say trophies, but he'll get us there. He will. He'll add our chances will get even better, if you get me. Again, it's his first season, 100 million euros. You'll make one bad mistake, you'll never hear the end of it. But he is going to be a big plus for United, and he is going to improve us a lot up at the top of the pitch. And I'd be surprised if he. I would just be surprised in general if he just out of nowhere goes on bad form. Because he wants to impress the gaffer. He is Ten Hag. But listen, all we can do is basically hope, isn't it?
Yeah, that's all we can do is hope that he does well. But I think that this is a player who's different to the players that we've bought before. I think he's a player that the fans like. First of all, the fans get behind him. The manager likes him. He's a guy who's basically he isn't a selfish player. He's a creative player. He's a guy who's a flair player, right? As you saw the other day, he does the tricks, the skills. He gets the fans off their feet. So he's a perfect Manchester United player. And with him, uh, all I can say is I hope he does well. But I feel that this is the manager. He's come into a system where I think he will do well. We can just hope, or as you said, that he does well. But I feel that it's more likely he will do well because the system that Ten Hag is building is a very strong, efficient system. And with more transfers coming in, I think that'll suit Anthony more, and I think he'll be able to replicate what he did at Ajax at Manchester United. So let's see, and all the best to him.
Yeah, that's it. We'll move on. Because Erik Ten Hag also spoke about Europa League rotation. He says we have to win every game. We want to win every tournament. So we take everything seriously. We not only have a team, we have a squad, but we have to win every game, and that is the mentality Manchester United needs. Now, listen, of course, Ten Hag is not going to disrespect the Europa League and say, "Oh yeah, we're going to throw out so and so because he's never got, they never got that much game time." But you reckon they will, in some way, take this competition seriously, as much as it's probably not the biggest competition. It's a trophy and it's a chance to get us into the Champions League next season. So do you reckon they'll take it seriously in some ways? Or do you reckon the team that starts tomorrow will be the team we'll constantly see for the Europa League campaign?
No, I think with this, I think he's definitely going to take it seriously. But just because he's starting, the bench team, the B team of Manchester United, doesn't mean that he's not taking the competition seriously. I think fans get a little confused, when you see probably like a Van de Beek, a Harry Maguire, and Lindelof play. You might think that he's not taking the competition seriously, but I think that's not the right, that's not true. Basically, I feel that our squad depth is just not that great. I feel overall in certain positions. So you have to basically see those players play. You have no option but to see them play. But Ten Hag, I think, is taking the competition seriously. He's just not able to play. He's not able to play Malaysia, Varane, Martinez because they've already played like 2 games in a row in a week. So he's not able to play these players, but he is taking the competition seriously. And I think that our group is also relatively easy group. There's not much of a threat there. So I think when we qualify from the group and reach the knockout stages, I think that's the point where you'd see maybe Varane, Martinez, Malaysia, all these first team players come into the team in this knockout stages of the Europa League. So I think at the end of the day, the competition does matter to Ten Hag.
Yeah. Yeah. Again, I think our only toughest game in this group stage is going to be Sociedad, isn't it? In both games, home and away. I can't see Sheriffs or Ammonia kind of giving us troubles. I can't. And you might see maybe like Garnacho for those games, or who else is there? You definitely see a Van de Beek, Dubravka, for example, uh, Twanzebe maybe. You will see Lindelof. You will see the players that you probably would never even be a big fan of starting. they'll start in those games. But I think they'll take the first 3 games seriously, but the last 3 will be fine. Like when we do play Sociedad, if I just can't see Manchester United struggle in this group. Sociedad got rid of Isaac as well. He's gone to Newcastle, and I think Januzaj is gone somewhere else. Not sure where. You still have the likes of David Silva, who used to play for Manchester City. I think he's still gone there anyway. So Sociedad are a good team. I mean, they play in the Spanish league, which again there's some decent teams in there. I think Barcelona, and Real Madrid, and Atletico, and then Villarreal will probably be the main threats in that kind of competition. But yeah, it will be an interesting one to see. So last bit, Erik Ten Hag on keeping players happy. He says, maybe I cannot keep them all happy every game, but everyone gets a game. Everyone gets the game time if they perform. As I've said, we need everyone. We have a lot of games to cover. I mean, he is right, isn't he? You can't keep everyone happy. Some players are happy with the game time they get. A few minutes. Some players want more. Do you reckon this is?
It's all based on your performance, right? As he mentioned there, you will get the game time if you perform. So if you perform, should be underlined. It's all based on your performance. So if a Maguire comes into the squad and actually starts performing well, then he will get more game time. That's just common logic. But if you don't perform well, it works. It works both ways. If you don't perform well, you won't see more game time. It's as simple as that. But you will get the opportunity to come back. You will get a game. But when you get the game, suppose you get a Carabao Cup game or an FA Cup game or even a Europa League game, it's your responsibility to take that game and to basically make the most out of that and basically show Ten Hag that you are deserving to start, and to get more game time. So Ten Hag is giving everyone a platform, but now it's up to the players to show the manager that they deserve to have more game time.
Yeah, that's it. And I am looking forward. Like, I really hope you get to see the likes of Garnacho start in some games. I don't think he's going to be a certain starter. It'll take him a while to be in that force, like to be in the starting 11. But and the likes of Alanga as well. I'd like to see. I just want to see a lot of players come in, like Van de Beek. I mean, a lot of talk, when Ten Hag was getting the job, we're going to see a lot more of Van de Beek. We haven't really seen much of Van de Beek. I mean, I don't even think he came on as a sub in many games. So I don't know. I mean, he wasn't, but then he actually wasn't spotted in training today, so he could be out tomorrow. Martinez is in training. He came off the other day against Arsenal, limping. I think it was just think it was more of a precaution than anything serious. I don't think it was that. Something you'd worry about with that one. But obviously the preview will be later on. But Rahul, me, Ryan, and Tom will be on for that one. But Rahul, I just want to get your predictions for the game tomorrow.
Yeah, I think it'd be a tough game, considering that we're going to make a lot of wholesale changes. But I feel that United will win 1-0 tomorrow, and I think it'd be Ronaldo who's going to get the goal.
Yeah, I mean, I think it'd be nice to see Ronaldo back on the score sheet.
Yeah.
It would be really, really nice to see Ronaldo back on the score sheet. But yeah, we'll be live tonight for the preview at around 8 o'clock. So make sure to join us then. Hit that subscribe button as well. And just follow all our socials: Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, Twitch, and Facebook. And join our Fantasy Football League as well if you haven't already. The code is gone across your screen there, SW0MCD. And yeah. Rahul, thanks for joining me. Much appreciated. Thanks everybody for watching, and I'll speak to you all in the next one, which will be at 8 o'clock tonight. Thanks all for joining me. Like, comment, hit that subscribe button. I'll speak to you all in a bit.